Well, Matt, thanks for being here today. Glad you are here. You and I have known each other, 15 years now?
11 or 12.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I knew it was double digits, so
Yes.
I didn't know with that. So
Yeah.
Katie and everybody's good.
Everybody's fantastic.
Yeah.
This time 2 months from now, we'll have 3 in college.
Oh, you're broke.
Yep. And so she's a realtor. So if anybody listening needs a household, call me. We need all the help we can get. But no, everybody's great.
That's good.
Everybody's great.
Okay. One of the reasons I wanted to talk to you, there's 2 things I want to be sure that we talk about today. One, from the get-go, from the very first conversations I had with you when you joined the Brentwood team as pastor of West Franklin, you kept saying you wanted to be in a situation where you could pastor, and that is really be engaged with the life of your people, and know what was going on, and then let that influence, color how you led. Okay, now. And the reason I want to talk about this is everybody talks about leadership as if you can go to the store and buy it. And say, I want 2 boxes of leadership. And we go home and we drink the protein leadership shake, and we think that one size fits all, one way fits all, and it doesn't. And one of the things that we really emphasize here at the ECN is making sure your heart, your style, your gifting match the needs and the opportunities of the church you serve. So you were at West Franklin, did a great job at West Franklin. We were really disappointed when you left to go to ClearView. But your drive out of that, very consistently, was your desire to be in the lives of your people and pastor. Okay? So let's talk about that.
Okay.
What was it about your own gifting and your own understanding of pastor that led you to this conclusion?
I think a couple things. One is failure. I pastored a couple of churches in Arkansas, and I didn't realize it at the time, but I thought I needed to go there and give them my expertise, my vision, my thoughts. I was there. Here's the leader. You follow me. And as you can imagine, it just didn't work. There were times I thought it was their fault, but really it was my fault.
Okay. When did you begin to understand that it was your fault?
Probably
because
sometime.
all of us in leadership have had this moment, and if we haven't, it's coming. So hang on.
Probably at West Franklin and reading a lot of Eugene Peterson. Thinking that I was in Wynne, Arkansas, where it was mostly majority wealthy farmers, and I never once went and ride the tractor with them.
Yeah,
which is almost ministry malpractice.
Exactly.
I would ask them how their farm was, but I never said, "Hey, can I go see how you do the?" And not only could I have learned more of them, but I could have learned more of the Bible.
Yes, exactly.
So
all the agricultural stories Jesus tells, sure.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And so I just began to think.
Preaching would have been better.
Much.
Okay, because I was on the tractor, saw this.
Right.
This is exactly what Jesus is talking about.
Yeah. And so I would say sometime early in my time at West Franklin, I just began to think, I never knew them. And I was only in El Dorado for a hot minute, 2 years, but still I had kind of that same mentality. And so a failure led to that, and then me thinking, okay, and I guess I would hear from you and Jay and some of the others. You would ask, what are you learning about West Franklin? You'd ask that all the time. And I don't know if anybody had ever asked me, what are you learning about Wynne Baptist Church or First Baptist El Dorado? And I just kind of think, I need to pay attention to what they're doing and who these people are. I also, and I didn't realize it at the time, but I grew up in the home of a veterinarian, and I worked for my dad's first job, and I hated it. Of course, scooping poop's never fun, but he would have me as his assistant in his exam room a lot, and it was so boring. I had to act like I cared about these animals. Most of them stunk. The owner was anxious and all this stuff. But what what I look back on it now, I'm like, he was asking tons of questions of the owner and about the dog, trying to figure out. I mean, he'd been doing it for years, but it wasn't a plug and play. It was, let me see what's going on with this dog. When they walked in, and if the owner said they had a cough, he could have easily said, well, let me give you some cough medicine.
Right.
I've seen this many times. But he didn't. He wanted to know what was going on, and he would ask tons of questions to try to figure out and diagnose. And I thought, years later, not at the time, that's pastoring.
Yeah.
That's pastoring. And then when they would leave, he would never help me clean up the room. I would clean up because he was over there taking copious notes so that the next time they came in, he could. And looking back now, I'm like, that's exactly what a pastor does and tries to figure out what's going on.
Well, let's go back. That's what a pastor should do.
Yeah.
You and I know lots of pastors. We don't know many who do that.
Right. Yeah. True. But it when I think about that and use that metaphor, that's kind of the approach I've taken so far with ClearView. At least I hope that's been my plan, is just meet with as many people as I can. You would call it coffee and pie. I've had a lot of coffee and a lot of pie. And just listen. Ask them their story. ClearView's been through a lot. Why'd you stay? What's your hope? And just hear their heart.
Okay, let's dig into this a little more. You say you showed up to your early churches thinking that you came in as leader, okay, and that was the model that we were sold in our training and all the pastor conferences and all that God told you and you're going to tell the church and you're God's man for the thing and that kind of stuff. That didn't work. Okay. So what happens when you start to realize this is a really unhealthy way to lead? And I want to ask two things. One, what does it do to you as a person and as a follower of Christ? And second, what does it do to your church?
Kind of reminds me of the job descriptions that are out there for pastors and 30 years of age with 50 years experience.
That's it, yeah. You know.
I'm sure you remember this. It was right before COVID. I had a meeting with you, and I said, I'm burned out. I'm burned out. I had been at West Franklin 4 years maybe, and I didn't know it at the time, but it was carryover from my time in Arkansas.
PTSD.
Yeah. I mean, you said early on when I came to West Franklin, I'd been there a couple months. You said at a trustee meeting, I don't know what happened to you at Arkansas, but you're going to be all right. And it wasn't that Arkansas did something. Well, it was more of what I did to me.
Yeah.
And I went into this thinking it's all on my shoulders. I've got to carry this load.
I got to have every answer.
They're looking to me, and it's up to me. I'm convinced. I think I told you this, that if I had still been a senior pastor during COVID, I would have gotten out during. I would have been one of those casualties. There's a lot of reasons God had me at Brentwood and West Franklin, but that was one of them, is to protect me from that, because I would have just been done. Because I would try to do it all myself.
Right.
What it does to it just burns him out. He cannot do that. He's not wired to do that. I mean, even the president only has 4 years.
That's right.
You know?
That's right. Yeah.
But over time, and I can only speak from my personal time and prior to coming to West Franklin, it was you preach and you preach and you preach. And then when you think it's all up to you, you get up early Monday and you just go, and you never stop. And so the only word that keeps coming to mind is burnout, much less the unhealth for a church, because they're looking to you. I don't know where they got sold. I'm sure we church leaders had this something to do with it, but the pastor's Superman, and we pay you to do all this stuff.
You're hired.
Right.
So we don't even say the blessing at a meal anymore, because you're hired to do that.
Right. And it was through your influence. I think you recommended a book. I forget the name of it, but it's on my shelf, about the heresy of the comma in Ephesians 4:12. about equip the saints for the work of the ministry. And somewhere along the lines, we got that reversed, where no, we hire a pastor to do all the ministry.
To do the ministry.
And it not only kills the pastor, but it kills the church. And when the pastor leaves, the church is like
decapitated.
Yeah. What do we do? And so, I was really going somewhere with that, Mike. I hope my boy here doesn't mind redoing. He loves
to edit.
Sorry about it.
He lives to edit.
I was going somewhere with that. Oh, I know. Another thing that was instituted at Brentwood, I'm assuming you brought it, was the spiritual retreat day.
Mm-hmm. One day a month, you go off, sit under a tree, and remember why you do this.
Exactly. It's not an off day.
Nope.
It's not catch up on work day.
Nope.
It's not a run errands. It's not mow the ground, unless it helps your soul.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's get with God day.
Mm-hmm.
And still, I've still been doing it. We've implemented it at ClearView.
Good.
They love it. But still, to this day, it can be very hard. But it's so healthy, because if I say for an entire day, I'm not going to check email, I'm not going to respond to text, and I tell the people that if there's, I have to be reminded that ClearView will be just fine without me.
Exactly.
And that's humbling, but I believe it's very, very healthy.
Mm-hmm. And
I never would have thought that way. I mean, it's almost like God needs to institute a Sabbath or something.
Yeah, well, and if you need to be reminded of that, look across town there at Brentwood Baptist Church. I stepped away. They're doing better than ever. They've absolutely hurt my feelings in how well they're doing.
Yeah. Well, and it's good for me to hear, because they're going to be just fine without me. And God is God, I'm not. And having that, I say that to say that mentality will free the pastor. And I'm glad it's monthly, because I forget it just like that.
Right.
I think churches look at pastors the way the secular world looks at leaders, and assume it's the same thing.
Yeah, it's not.
It's not. It's a different animal. It's a different thing. Yes, it is. There's a business part to it. You have to have that. But at the end of the day, we're in charge of souls. And that's heavy. Heavy. And if you start mixing all of it together and you don't ever stop, it's not good. And the church, as you say, when the pastor leaves decapitated, they don't know what they're doing. Nobody knows.
Well, and as I often remind you, the church is a wicked mistress. And we will reward you into self-destruction. We'll give you a raise. We'll give you plaques. And when Katie leaves you, we'll fire you the same day.
It's very true. It's true. Reward doing the good stuff.
Yeah. But not the best stuff.
Yeah. You asked me earlier what's keeping me up at night. It's figuring out what that looks like on my calendar. What's the good versus the best.
Right.
But
well, and what I have discovered is we rob our members of their blessing. See, for you to identify this coach and say to him, you're doing the work of God. You're not just coaching for a salary, and you're not just playing a game. You're doing the work of God in this. Changes what this man does when he shows up. It changes it. And for you to pour your life into him so that he now has a different level of energy and training as a leader. And what happens now when he shows up as at that next level of competence leader, the offensive coordinator, the Bible study he has with his kid. What happens when he realizes not only is he's there, but he's there with the support of his pastor, and by that, the support of his church. For his church to say, no, we don't want you to be chair of the grounds committee or counting the offering. We want you doing that. Right there. And we're going to ordain you, as it were, to go do this and let us know how we as a church can help you. Then when that man comes back to church, he's ready to worship. He wants to celebrate what God's done in the Bible study and in the life of this young man. Most of our people are bored out of their minds. They have no reason to be there. They haven't seen God do anything and don't know why they're there. So when you can begin to call out, you were born for this, you were created for this, go do this. And no, we don't need you at the church 24 hours a day, 7 days a week.
We want you right there.
And we want you out there doing what you're doing. Now, thank God we do have people who will hang at the church 24/7. And we've all known those guys who took care of the finances at Brentwood and who were absolutely brilliant in doing it. Well, because they did what they did, they released everybody else to go do their ministry.
Right.
Which is, man, when a church, when most people show up to worship, fold their arms like a Russian Olympic judge, and look at you and the worship team go, do something, okay? Bring worship to me. Well, nobody can do that.
Can't do that. Yeah.
I want people showing up and going, man, I have to celebrate what I saw God do. Now give me a way to sing about that. Now you get there.
Church. Yeah.
Now you get there. And I need something from you, Pastor Matt, that I can pour into my life and pour into my work Tuesday morning. Now that's where it gets fun. Yeah. We always assume as a pastor that we're the only one God is talking to in that congregation.
That's true. That's true.
Right?
Yeah.
And when you have these coffee and pie conversations and you get past the niceties to the real heart of these people, they have been praying some bold prayers.
That's
and
true.
Carrying some big burdens for this congregation.
Yeah. Yeah. And you're exactly right, especially the ones that have stayed. Again, I don't want to get into the just ugly years of ClearView, but to stay when there didn't seem to be much hope, you know that there were some saints crying out to God for help, and love this church much more than I do.
Well, the old story is God would have saved Sodom for one righteous person. So who were those handful of righteous people hanging in there, holding God's attention, and for their sake, he remains faithful to ClearView.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So you have this growing recognition that you are created as a pastor. Okay. Now there's lots of ways to do this, and everybody thinks there's one way fits all. It's not. You can pastor your people so well that your preaching gets better, okay? Or you can preach so well that they will allow you to pastor. Either way works, and I've known successful people in both avenues. Now you're coming because you have a PhD in preaching, so preaching is very important to you. And you and I love talking about the techniques of preaching and that kind of thing. But now you're coming at it, I want to be the pastor who, because I know you, I can apply God's word to you better. All right, that's a switch for you, right?
It is. It is. I think one of the reasons, well, I don't know if I need to say that, but I don't know how true that is, but what I was going to say is one of the reasons I was able to stay in Arkansas at these churches was because I loved preaching in the Word. And that was seen as, well, if he can do that like that on Sunday, then he must be a good leader.
Right.
And that's frightening. And you can, but at the neglect of a whole lot of good shepherding. And so, yeah, this approach has been, okay, I love to preach. I believe God's gifted me to preach. I've been preaching for 25 years, and I'm going to continue to do that. But why don't I take the approach of, I heard you say this, or whether I say that out loud or not, they're going to feel seen. And it makes all the difference in the world. I mean, I've heard you say that you've heard some guys that couldn't preach their way out of a paper bag, but the people loved it.
Exactly right.
Because they knew that he loved them. And I don't want to be that kind of preacher, but it's amazing what you can get away with if they know they're loved. You love them. Yep.
Yeah. Okay. Now you've had a chance to do it. Okay. You've had the education, the learning, the revelation. Listen, Matt, here's how I gifted you. Now I want to give you a chance to live out your giftedness. What are you finding out? About you, the way you're doing your ministry, the way you did it at West Franklin is very different than the way you're doing it at ClearView. So what prompted that change of of style or anything. I'll tell you one thing I've noticed. You're much happier.
Thanks.
You're much happier.
Well, yeah.
And I think that comes from hitting that groove where you know you're supposed to be.
Yeah. Well, thanks for saying that. I have had some people from, because Clearview's less than 10 minutes away from West Franklin. So I've had some people come to visit Clearview a time or two, and several of them has said, you seem released. Mm-hmm. And I didn't feel trapped at West Franklin or anything like that, but it's just like there's this other level that you're able to get at. What am I learning about that is, I still put tons of energy into the sermon, but it's taking less time, and I feel like I'm spending more time listening to the people, and it's maybe that's a connection there.
Oh, you think?
By the time, well, if you start, sorry, I just kind of had that revelation. Duh. If I know where I'm going a week in advance, and I'm thinking about the passage Sunday night before I go to sleep.
Exactly right.
And I'm always reading the text. Then whether I'm listening to a podcast on the way to work or whether I'm having a conversation with a church member, that's always there. And I can think, oh, this is going to speak to that. And by the time I get in the study, I mean, I've been studying it here, but by the time I get to write out a manuscript or whatever, it just flows.
Yeah. That's the biblical understanding of meditate on this. Hold this in your head.
Yeah. And it's just, and God knows what we're dealing with in the text. God knows who He's got in contact with us during the week, and the connections that happen are just beautiful, really. And when people walk out, they're like, "Did you read my mail this week?"
Yeah.
I'm like, well, yeah, I was at your house, and you told me this,
and you said this. Yeah, right. Yeah, that was your story.
Yeah. So
with that, okay. Now, what would this Matt tell the younger Matt? What would this Matt tell the Matt at Wynn or El Dorado?
There's a lot. We've already touched on it, but number one is find out who these people are.
Right.
This is not the last church you pastored. I mean, that's something else about Clearview. Clearview's 10 minutes away from West Franklin, but it's a completely
different world. Different world.
Completely. And so if you cross town, if you cross state, if you cross, yes. Call out what God put in this church to be.
Which is not West Franklin, not Wynn, not El Dorado.
Right.
They got a different calling.
Right. There's a reason this church is here. There's a reason this church exists. Figure out. I've heard you say, look at the baby pictures. Go back. Why did they start? What got them up in the morning? I would beg the young Matt to don't try to force your agenda. Let their agenda or the God-given agenda for this church
surface
emerge.
That's right.
That would be the biggie. Don't try to be patient with people, which I guess comes when you're not trying to force your agenda. More so.
Well, it also comes when you trust that there is a God-given agenda in this church somewhere.
Right. Or it wouldn't be there.
Or the church would not be there, and sometimes it takes a little time for it to take root and for those early seedlings to pop up. But you got to work the ground for that to happen.
Yeah.
And you'd learn that if you were on that tractor.
I was on a tractor. You know what else I never did when I was in Wynn? I never went duck hunting.
Wow.
Swing and a miss. Duck hunting capital of the world in eastern Arkansas, and of course, they never invited me, but they probably knew what I'd do with the gun.
Yeah, no.
But yeah, several pastoral misses there.
But you're talking about pastoral missions. One of the paradigm shifts that has to happen, that is not happening, is we have to understand that we are now missionaries to our own culture. Okay, and if a missionary had moved to Wynn, Arkansas, the missionary would have gone duck hunting.
Yep.
The missionary would have studied duck hunting.
Yep. Yep. And gotten in the tractor.
To engage a conversation and to start a friendship and that kind of stuff. All right. But that's one of the things that all the pastors have to do. You have to understand now, we're not in a Christian culture. And you have to understand your people and where they are and create that connection with them. That again proves your leadership and your preaching and all of that. Now, the other thing that is fun for you right now is that you are on this precipice of how we used to do church and how we're having to learn to do church in this post-Christian era. Okay, so it used to be that, especially as a Southern Baptist pastor, you showed up and lived out of the Southern Baptist calendar and the Southern Baptist emphasis, where there was a missions offering or whatever. Now we're at the other place where we have gone over where that is no longer relevant to our people. It no longer connects to anybody. You now have young adults asking, who is Lottie Moon and why are we giving her money? And which is heresy in the Southern Baptist Church, right? That you would not know who Lottie Moon was, who was a missionary in China, and because of her sacrifice, we named the International Mission Fund after her. But now you're having to come back and say, okay, how is ClearView going to accomplish ClearView's mission? Which means you have to identify and train and release to ministry those people in your congregation. Every Paul makes a Timothy now, okay? Leaders make more leaders. Titus and Timothy, you would think, would be evangelistic books. They're not. They're books on how you identify and train leaders. So how is Matt coming to ClearView with this understanding that I have to find certain number of leaders now who can then live out the mission and work with you to extend that mission?
Well, it's a really good question. I'm still learning. I've been here 9 months at ClearView, so I'm trying to identify who the leaders are. There's some leaders that have the label because they're chairman of this, chairman of that, and some of them are true leaders. Then there's other leaders that don't know they're leaders, and trying to call that out. So I'm still figuring out who these leaders are. And well, ClearView's, as we said, every church is unique, but for 40 something years, ClearView's 41 years old. Many Southern Baptist leaders, executive team people, were members at Richard Land is still a member at ClearView. Lifeway had tons of Lifeway employees, leaders at Lifeway were members of ClearView, and what that meant was that if these people at Lifeway and these Southern Baptist convention leaders, they're all over the country, they're hearing what all these other Baptist churches are doing. They come back to ClearView and say, hey, I heard this, they're doing this, I heard they're, which is all fine. But it seems like they tried everything that they heard.
Well, I tell people all the time that the most important job of the pastor is keep experts out of your congregation.
Well, that's the truth. There's a lot of experts.
Everybody shows up with their little box, man.
That's right. And so as I begin to learn the people, I'm trying to learn the history, and I'm saying, okay, I'm looking at 40 years of artifacts of things they've tried that just hadn't worked. And so now I'm saying, okay, this may have worked in 92, but we're a whole new world.
Whole new
world. Those people that were here aren't here anymore, and now we've got new. I'm trying to get to your question, Mike, but for me, it is okay. I've got to figure out who these Lottie Moons are, who these leaders are. And then I've got to say, okay, here's what we're going to be. We're not going to be about everything.
Nope.
We're going to be about this, this, and this. And I need you to be at the tip of the spear. What do you need from me? I'll give you an example. well, I won't say his name, but he's the head coach of a high school baseball team in town. And I went to watch one of his games. And I saw this guy and his players have such a rich relationship that I was just sitting there observing and watching him and watch the way the boys were watching him and how he was interacting. I was like, that's youth ministry on a baseball field. And he is just, the ministry was happening during the game. And then about a week later, he called to ask me for advice because someone that he had coached 10 years ago his sister had taken her life. Wow. And he was the first person they called, the baseball coach.
Wow. Their pastor.
Yes.
Their pastor, right.
Exactly. And so I'm thinking, I've got to get him everything he needs in order to be a gospel influence. Because he's already leading,
right,
pastoring. How can I help him? So it's identifying those people.
Yeah.
Who are those people that are already leading, like school teachers, for instance, that are in the classroom? And so I'm learning.
Yeah, but this is the switch that we keep talking about. Going from the guy who is the leader to the guy who empowers leaders and encourages leaders and pastors leaders who then go out and reach an entire baseball team.
Yeah.
Not only the baseball team for that year, but everybody who's played ball for him is now under his ministry and part of his church, to use that term.
I still wrestle with this, but there's another guy. He's an offensive coordinator at Ravenwood High School. Great guy. Hope Auburn calls him. But there's this high school senior that just graduated, was going to play quarterback or wide receiver at a school in Indiana, not the Hoosiers, but another school. And he had led him to Christ. This offensive coordinator led him to Christ and wanted me to talk to him about being baptized. Come to find out, he has Bible study on campus with these. So I'm thinking, one, we don't need to be asking him to come to church every night of the week to be on a meeting, but we do need to be saying, how can we release him?
Exactly right.
Let's not get him more busy here. Let's let him stay focused where he is for the sake of the gospel. And so anyway, I hope that kind of answers your question. I'm looking for these people, but it's going to be a shift here.
Right.
Because all my life it's been, let's get everybody here at the church.
That's exactly right. And success has been how many people are on Sunday morning, Sunday night, Wednesday night. Yeah. Now success is how many people are out Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Yeah. Whole different question.
Yeah. It's going to hurt my numbers that I turn into the convention.
Well, yeah, and how are you going to be elected president of the convention if you don't have?
You couldn't pay me enough.
Yeah, you what does it do? What does it do? And and gosh, it's just you and me talk. What does it do to your ego? Okay, when your church is active and doing kingdom work and mission work that you see happening every day of the week, but may not be reflected in your Sunday attendance numbers or your Wednesday Bible study numbers.
Yeah, it hurts your ego.
It does. Yeah. It does, until we learn that there's a new paradigm shift.
Yeah.
Until you can start seeing your success. And I'm fortunate in that I have lived long enough. And you're a father, so you know this. You enjoy the success of your children more than you do your own. Yeah. And so I've had the chance to be part of your life, part of Jay's life, and Aaron, and all this, and I enjoy your success. More than I ever did my own. But seeing you get it and seeing you live that out in the ministry of ClearView is important. So, what keeps you up at night?
Is Auburn football going to be? No, just kidding. What keeps me up at night? right now, okay, I've been here 9-10 months. Where does my time need to be best used? I mean, I'm still learning church members, but I've spent a lot of time, and I'm still going to.
Mm-hmm.
But okay, now I'm at this approaching a year at ClearView. Where does the bulk of my time? I heard somebody say this week, your calendar reflects your goals.
Mm-hmm.
Where do I need to put my attention during this next season? So I'm thinking a lot about that, and I don't have a solid answer. And so when I wake up in the middle of the night, I think that.
Okay. Well, I'm assuming Katie's at the top of that list, your wife.
Well, yes.
Okay. Now listen. you and I.
If she wouldn't, she'd tell me.
Well, you and I know a lot of guys that would expect the wife to understand this is a really busy time of my ministry. I've got to get all this stuff done. I'll get back to you when I can.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm assuming each of your children now you are the father of college students. That's different. But they still need you in there, and in some ways they need you more and differently than they have than when they were smaller.
Now I've got 2 at Belmont. Luke will be a senior, Birdie will be a freshman. Wow. When Luke comes home,
I feel so old.
You are.
Yeah.
When Luke comes home now, since he lives 30 minutes away, he brings 10 or 12 friends with him to eat.
Yeah.
And so it's a lot of my time is spent cooking and going to the grocery store.
Yeah.
But yes, to your point, Kate, yes, of course. I should not have assumed that. Mm-hmm. But she's the priority. My kids, it's not as hands-on as it was. Mm-hmm. But you're right. When they call, you have to be available right then. And so it's a different kind of quality time. And so those are definitely the priorities. I'm just thinking, okay, now that ClearView's in this whatever season we're in, and I've been here enough they know that I'm here. Mm-hmm. What does that look like for us to have not just present health, but long-term health? And so that's probably what's keeping me up at night, and how am I going to pay for 3 kids?
Well, let's be reminded of the fundamentals. One, your most important sermon is your marriage. And a lot of people come to ClearView and they will watch how you and Katie react before they ever decide whether or not they'll listen to you. Assuming that if that's the way you treat somebody you love, then that's the way you'll treat me. If I come to you and be your friend.
I need her to watch this podcast.
Yeah.
Did you hear what Mike said, babe?
That's it. I'm telling you.
Yeah, you're right. You're right.
I've had people. My mom was sick with Alzheimer's, so she came and lived with us for 4 years. And I had a guy tell me one time. He said, when we decided to join your church? I said, no. He said, you remember when you used to walk down and get your mom, and you would walk out with your mom? I said, well, yeah. And he said, we watched you do that 2 or 3 weeks, and one time when you walked down, my wife looked at me and goes, that's my pastor.
Wow. Wow.
So what about my sermons? They're all right. But when she saw you take care of your mom, that was
wow.
So that was it.
Yeah.
Okay. What gets you up early in the morning?
I love knowing that I have an opportunity to help a congregation understand who God is from the scriptures, whether that's Sunday morning or in lunch. That's just why I do what I do. I love that I get to do that. Not everybody sees, when somebody says, I want an hour of your time during the week, not everybody sees it as we're going to figure, even though I'm a pastor, we're going to figure out what God's up to here. That's my job still. And that's always, and still what gets me up in the morning.
Yeah, it's the idea of stewardship. You are responsible to God for the well-being of your people.
Which is wonderful and haunting all at the same time.
Yeah, scares the bejeebies out of you at times. Yeah, with that.
People have asked me, what do you like? Do you like being the, who knows how they say it, the chief at ClearView? You know, because I was a campus pastor at West Franklin, and I said, well, it's great, but it's scary. Because if somebody didn't like something, I was at West Franklin, I'd just ask Brentwood.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, I can't do anything with them. Yeah.
But when they don't like something at ClearView, the buck stops with me. One time I said, well, that's Brentwood. And they're like, well, you're not there anymore.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. Somebody asked me one time, I said, it's like surfing a tsunami, baby. It's a great ride. You fall off, you're not getting back up.
That's right. That's right. Before I came to West Franklin, my older sister, I have an older sister and a younger sister. My older sister said, what's it going to be? I kind of told her the makeup of how it was going to be. She said, what's it going to be now that you have a boss? Meaning coming to West Franklin. And I said, Laura, I've always had bosses. They've just been called deacons.
That's right. Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Chairman.
That's what I love about, the Internal Revenue Service thinks pastors are self-employed, that we have no boss.
That is funny. And then above them's God.
Yeah, that's right. All right, man. I want you to come back because I want to keep in touch with this experiment and what you're learning, what you continue to learn, and how you begin to identify and release these leaders to do that. He is Matt Pearson, and he is at ClearView Baptist Church here in the Nashville area. Matt, thanks for being with us.
Thank you. Thanks for having me. Enjoyed it.